afternoon, no, good evening, and welcome everybody. This is Candid Conversations, and I am your host, the laid back, down to earth life coach, Aisha Israel, and we are ready to get into things. So it is Monday, April 18th, and we have a full show lined up for you this evening. I hope that everyone enjoyed their weekend. I just came off of spring break, so I was at home for a week. This is probably the first time in many years that I didn't go anywhere, like leave the city for spring break. But I needed just to rest and relax and do some things around the house. So, oh, and also I hope that you enjoyed your Resurrection Day. Yeah, we did not go anywhere. Well, my children were with their dad for the weekend, so it was just me, my husband, my mom, and my bonus son. So, yeah, it was relaxing, a relaxing weekend, and I just hope that you guys enjoyed your weekend as well. So, like I said, we have a really good lineup this evening. First up is our boss chick. She is coming all the way from New Jersey. She is running for city council, but she has a very interesting story, and I think it's something that we can all get behind. So, without further ado, without further ado, next up is our boss chick, Fatimah Turner. Hey there, how are you? Welcome to Candid Conversations.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good and I'm glad to have you. Typically, how we do things is with the boss chick, I just kind of give you the floor for a few minutes. You don't have to have that long. Don't get nervous, but just to introduce yourself to the viewers and to let them know what you do.
Okay, awesome. I'm Fatima Turner. I do lots of things. So I'll talk about some of the current things that I have going on. I'm running for city council in my ward. I literally just left my first political debate. That was exciting, but
Okay,
encouraging because I'd like to say I did pretty well in true boss chick fashion.
nice.
And on Friday, I'm a PhD candidate. And on Friday, I defend my dissertation. So Friday, God willing, I will be Dr. Fatima Turner.
Hey, now even more boss. Put some more boss on that. I love
Yes,
it.
yes.
Nice.
So I'm also a mom of three. I have three beautiful daughters. One of them has just completed, well, a year ago, she completed her master's. She's an AKA. I'm extremely proud of her. I have a 20-year-old daughter who I like to say I inherited, but she's very much my daughter. And then I have a 13-year-old who's my angel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
baby of the bunch.
So look, you have your hands full. But before we go any further, with just me asking you some specific and personal questions, you are running for city council where exactly?
Oh, I'm running for city council in the city of Orange Township in the East Ward. I'm running for East Ward City Council woman.
Okay. And what does that require? Like, why do you want to do that?
Well, I feel like there's a lack of leadership in my town, and I keep hearing the residents talk to me about what they need, and I've been doing my best to try to give them what they need, but
Okay.
I don't really have the power right now. So I feel like if I become the council person, because our current council person only comes out during election time. I voted for him, I think, twice, and I only see him during election time. There's a huge lack of leadership in our town. And I'm very engaged in my community. So during COVID, that is when I first realized the lack of services that we had in our community. Where I work in private practice, and I would talk to many of the our seniors and our residents, and many of them were going through things like losing people, and they were going through just some quality of life things. And so what I started was an initiative to offer them free services. So myself and a few of my friends, colleagues in the same field, we began to offer free services to the residents. And what I also go in and deliver food to them and things like that. And what I realized is that why isn't our current leadership doing that? Why isn't he addressing the issues that we have? And I live off of one of the sayings by Dr. Martin Luther King, and I might say it wrong, but he says something like, true compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. And he says that an edifice that produces a beggar's class needs restructuring. So that's exactly why I'm running for city council, because I plan to restructure the current policies and programs that we have in place to uplift our community.
Awesome. And it seems like you're really passionate about that, because what I was going to say before I asked you to speak on that is that you seem like you have your hands full, like your plate is full. So, I mean, congratulations on getting ready to, do you say argue your dissertation, or what
Well,
is?
yeah, it's a defense. So I'm gonna defend my dissertation. So pretty much I'm gonna argue it. You can say that.
Okay. So you're
And
getting ready to do that. Yes, congratulations, because I know it takes a lot to get to that point in the first place. So that's exciting. And then you have three young ladies, right? All girls.
yeah.
I have one girl and my hands are full. So wow, hats off to you.
Yeah. And
And
I also work, I always forget I do so many things, but also, like I said, I work in private practice. I teach a class for adult learners at Stanford. I also sit on the school board, which is a lot of work. And people often say to me, you have your hands full. And by no way do I compare myself to our great leaders of the past. But when you think about the things that they did, we think about the Harriet Tubmans, if we think about the all of our heroes from the past, somebody did it, so somebody has to do it. So I just consider myself, paying it forward.
awesome. I love it. I think that is awesome. I think that is amazing, and definitely boss. What was I getting ready to ask you? So you're saying that you're in private practice, and so what area is that? Is that anything close to running for city council? Like,
Well, in private practice, what I do is I offer group therapy, group services. But what I do, my specialty is Black families, Black and brown families. Just trying to take some of the things that historically that we've done to enhance our community and kind of regurgitate it and instill that back into our family, so that we could produce positive families and children and communities. I also do some relationship counseling, and I also offer a little bit of business consulting as well in my practice.
wow. And I think it's so awesome. Like, you're doing a lot, but you're successful at a lot. You know what I mean? So it's not like, how what is that word that they call people that do a lot of different things, but they're not good at anything? I can't remember what that's called right now. But
Yeah.
that is not you. You are managing, and you are having success. And I think that you are just setting a really good example for women of color. Which is why, I wanted you to be on the show and just kind of tell your story. And so, with all of your awesomeness and being amazing, I think you can also shed some light on, because you shared with me that you come from humble beginnings. So how does someone who kind of has cards stacked against them break through the challenges to be successful, and to not only break through, how they say, survive, but thrive, and then even beyond that? How do you do that with so many challenges?
Um, I often ask myself that question. And again, like you said, I started off in humble beginnings. I grew up in public housing. My parents face some, issues as it relates to, drugs and things like that. So the song that says started from the bottom, now I hear, I like to say I didn't start from the bottom. I started in the mud. And so I literally had to pull myself out the mud, or push myself up out of the mud.
Mhm.
And I think my catapult was, I think I had a good and decent educational foundation. I had teachers that really believed in me and saw something different in me. And though I took some wrong turns, that and my grandparents, I mean, most of all, my grandparents instilled some things in me that I think was a good foundation. But once I had my daughter, I was adamant not to complete or to continue those cycles.
Mm.
So upon the birth of my daughter, I had it in me to just be different. And originally that plan, from my perspective, meant getting married and just providing her with a home. So my goal was to get married and give her a two-parent home and not be a statistic, right? Not be a single mom, because that's what I saw my mom do. But when I realized that my goal in um not being that a statistic and raising her in a two-family household, I was indeed repeating a cycle, because I was in a bad marriage. My husband was an alcoholic, so she was now seeing the same things that I saw, whereas I thought that I was doing something good, but I was really repeating that behavior. So it was at that point I said, you know what, I'd rather my kids see me struggle on my own than to see me dependent on someone. So I ended up, leaving my husband, and starting school. So I didn't start school until my 30s. I had already had two children, my three children. My baby was about a year and a half old, and I went back and got my associate's degree. A year later, I went and got a bachelor's, and then I was like, oh, maybe I can get a master's. So I went and got another master's. And what I did was I quit my job and I did natural hair in my basement. So during the day while my children were at school, I would go to school. And then in the evenings, I would do hair in my basement, sometimes to 2, 3 in the morning, so that I was always at home. So I was a stay-at-home mom and a working and educated mom, or school mom. So I ended up going back. I ended up getting 2 masters. And like I said, going out for my PhD. But I think my motivation was, in the beginning, I could say it was my kids, but then I think afterwards I realized that I deserved a life for myself, and
Yeah.
I deserved to be happy, and then that it wasn't over for me. And that's kind of the platform that I stand on when I'm motivating women, because oftentimes we try to live vicariously through our children because we think it's over for us,
Mhm.
and it's not. We still deserve to live for ourselves. And I know that there's tons of girls out there like me, young girls that look at me being counted out, coming up the kid of a heroin addict or heroin addicts, coming up from in public housing. And they look at, I got pregnant at 19. I
Mhm.
dropped out of college. I didn't go back to college until my late 30s. I know there's single moms. I hear single moms say all the time, "Oh, how do you do it? I don't have the time." Well, guess what? There's only 24 hours in my day too,
Yeah.
and I figure it out. And so for me, I wanted my daughters will tell you, my mother was hard on us, she pushed us, but what they will not say is that she was weak and that she was dependent on anybody to survive.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so you have set an amazing example. Do your children ever express that trying to follow in your footsteps might be tough, or are they just as much go getters as you are?
Yeah, so my oldest daughter will tell you in a heartbeat. Like I feel like she went to school because she knew that it was not an option,
Hmm.
but she always, when people ask her is she going to follow her mom's footsteps, the first two, they adamantly no, because like they said, my mom's a hard act to follow. And growing up, I also watched my mom in domestic situations.
Hmm.
And so I think often we forget what the children went through. So when I saw my mom in these situations going back repeatedly, as a kid, sometimes I didn't see her as a victim. Sometimes I saw her as a co-conspirator because I couldn't understand why she didn't pull herself out of it.
Right.
So it's definitely a bias and something that I'm working on from my own trauma. But when I see women that don't fight for themselves, you know, it sort of bothers me. And again, it's my own bias. It's something that I have to work on. But I wanted my mom to advocate for me. I wanted my mom to advocate for our family. And so for my kids, yes, I push them very hard. And so yes, all the time they will say it's a hard act to follow. Now, my youngest one, she didn't really see the struggle and the fight.
Hmm.
So she has a different perspective. Like she's always like extremely proud. They all are proud, but my youngest one, she's always pushing and she always wants to be a part of it. And she wants my two oldest one, they're like, you know, you do you, and we gonna do us over here.
Got it. I really am still just very much impressed by your story, by your self motivation, and just the fact that you were able to do all of this with, starting with so little. Do you think though that you said you had teachers that saw in you something great? Do you think that those were very important, or just an extra boost? Like if they weren't there, do you think you would have done any of these things?
Nope. I think there's this concept of other mothering, and I talk about it in my research. And I think that in addition to my grandparents being other mothers for me and aunts being other mothers for me, those teachers were other mothers for me too. Because lots of times you hear girls say they're looking for daddies. Well, there's women who look for mom figures when you don't have that guidance, and so those teachers were
Okay.
essential in who I am. I had one teacher, and I actually just got in contact with her again, Miss Pollock, and Miss Pollock would never allow me to go out for during recess. When all the other girls were out at lunchtime, she would never let me go outside, and she made me like do junior librarian stuff, and she made me grade papers, and she made me read these books. Had another teacher that made me read like Nathan McCall and Dick Gregory. I'm talking about in middle school.
Oh
And
wow.
all the while I thought it was punishment, but these teachers seen something in me. So Miss Pollock never let me go outside because she didn't want me around boys. And she didn't want, I grew up in an urban school district. So, you know, we were kind of, kids were kind of loose. So
Yeah.
she never let me go outside. Like, and when I spoke to her just recently, she remembered how bright and smart I was. And I had forgotten how bright and smart I was because when I started to get older and when I got into high school is when my parents really started to kind of disconnect because they had their own issues. And so
Okay.
then school wasn't a priority to me. Basically, survival was for me and my brother. I had to make sure we ate. I had to make sure we had lights. You
Yeah.
know, school just wasn't a priority. So those teachers, I would say, were essential for me.
Okay. Yeah. And I was going to ask. That was going to be my next question. Do you still keep in touch with them? So do you mentioned that one teacher? Do you keep in touch with any additional ones?
Yeah, so Miss Pollock, there's another teacher that I had, Miss Ross, and she was like my Michelle Obama. She kind of looks like Michelle Obama a little bit in my head, and she's very tall. And actually, she was the first, I would say she was one of the first Black women that I saw that I thought was extremely powerful in a professional light. Like my grandparents, they were my grandma Altamise and my grandma Joan, like they were powerful women. But Miss Ross, she was just the ultimate boss chick. And now I think she's like assistant superintendent or something like that. But yeah, so I keep in contact with her. I keep in contact with Miss Pollock. My cheerleading coach, who was also my advisor, saw something in me and she tried to get me to go away to boarding school. So I had all these teachers trying to get me out of the element.
Okay.
But my mom was like, yeah, no, she can't go away because who's going to raise my son? So basically, I had to raise my brother. So my mother wasn't trying to allow me to go away. But yeah, I do keep in contact with them.
Okay. Wow. Um, I just have all of these thoughts coming at me. Okay, so let's try to, because you told me so much even just when I was speaking to you, to kind of get you ready for the interview. I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, I have to mention this. Oh my goodness, I got to mention this. Oh my goodness, like, oh, we don't have enough time for her story. But you told me too that you've been a principal, correct?
Yes.
When did that? How did that fall into this timeline of your journey?
So I got this job, and actually I'm not gonna tell that story, but it was funny how I got the job. But anyway, I got this job. I was supposed to be a school social worker, and I volunteered to come and work during the summer. So after working during the summer, my principal or my boss was like, you have great leadership skills. I like, what you bring to the table. And she promoted me before the position started as to director of social and emotional learning. So now here I am over these women who've been doing this for many years. And
Right.
then after doing that, I again just exhibited these leadership skills. But the other thing is just that I had a connection with these girls, because these are girls who came from exactly where I came from. These are girls that were from Newark. They were like outcasted, and they were sent to this all girls school. And I was able to be transparent and saying, hey, I know exactly where you come from, so try me. And it worked, and they loved it. And she then said, hey, Turner, why don't you go get another master's so you can be my VP? So I was like,
Let's
okay.
go get another master's, huh?
So I went and I got another master's, and then ironically, the school closed. But I interviewed for another position, for a lower position, and for dean of students. And after interviewing for that position of dean of students, because I had just finished my master's in educational leadership, and they were like, hey, we want to hire you for our assistant principal in Jersey City. So yeah.
Wow. It's such a blessing. Things are just coming to you. It's nice to be able to live your passion. A lot of us don't do that because we're so focused on, surviving for one, but also making sure that we're responsible and taking care of other people so we don't take those risks. But I think you are a wonderful example that sometimes taking those risks when you have a clear vision can pay off very well. And not only for you personally, but for the people around you and for the people who are watching you that you don't even know are watching you. So yeah, so let's go down this list again. Okay, so you're a mom of three. You have some successful daughters who are watching you, but taking care of business in their own right. You've been a principal. You are a family counselor. Is that your title? Okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
counselor, and you're running for political office. So I'm just really curious, really quickly. So you said you just came from a political debate and you said it went well. So can I ask, like, what took place? Like, what did you actually discuss? Like, what did you, I don't know. I kind of want to see a video, but we don't have one. So tell me without me trying to search for a video.
Yeah, I can't wait for the video too, so I can see it myself, because I was extremely nervous. But basically, they were asking me for what my platform was, and so I talked about my platform. Basically, what I talked about here. In my community, there's a lack of leadership. Basically, it's over. So my ward is probably the ward where it's the lowest socioeconomic statuses. So we get the least amount of resources.
Okay.
So, I always say I'm not a politician. I'm a social justice advocate. And so basically, I talked about my platform. I talked about my education. I talked about the plans that I have for the ward to kind of just put back in some reciprocity. We can't just take and not give back. So my platform is to give back and to just basically increase the quality of life for the people that are around me. And we have a large Spanish and Haitian Creole population that I also think are often ignored and not heard. And so I'm an advocate for all residents in my community.
All right. Well,
I
I mean,
did forget to mention, I am so sorry, but I did forget to mention my baby project. I am opening up with my fabulous partner something called Inner City Cafe. It's a coffee shop, and it's nostalgic. We're going to have some music. We're going to have events. And it's the first coffee shop in my town. And it's in a historical building. So it's going to be big.
Okay, that sounds nice. And it also sounds like we have a lot that we need to leave in the chat for people to pick up on. So we are coming to a close of our segment, but before we do, I have two questions that I always ask my boss chicks. Now you've said a lot, and I think that you've been very articulate, but in your own words, what makes you a boss chick?
What makes me a boss chick is that I want to create more boss chicks. What
Mm,
makes me a boss chick is that my goal is to always uplift
yes,
women. And I think what makes me a boss chick is that I recognize my strengths and I recognize my weaknesses. I know that I don't know it all. I know that what I don't know, I can lean on someone that knows. And then again, most of all, it bothers me when I see other women when I see us putting each other down because we don't know each other's stories. So
agreed.
when women are out here calling each other bosses, we can all be bosses. And you're not a boss if you're not bossing somebody else up.
Right,
So
exactly.
I thank you, Miss Aisha is real, for bossing up the women on your platform.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, I think before any of this took place, because this show started during COVID. This was
Okay.
birthed out of being at home and just kind of seeing marriages struggle. But before that, I remember just making a quote because I was just kind of watching people, and I actually had a boss chick in the past who told me, she's like, I really don't like that term because what she was seeing was just a lot of people walking around claiming to be boss chicks, but what they had was just a haughty attitude, which is not what we are aspiring to be and what not what we're claiming our boss chicks. But if you think that you are a leader, the test is turn around and see if anybody's following you, right?
Mm,
Because
mm,
if nobody's back there,
mm,
I don't care what you say,
mm. Yes.
you have some work to do. It
Yes.
doesn't mean that there's not a leader in there, but you have some work to do. And so, with that, I would love for you to just speak to the women out there who are maybe not aspiring to be such the superwoman that you are, but have a goal and have a vision and are looking forward to being a boss chick. What can you tell them?
I mean, it sounds cliche, but I say if at first you don't succeed, try again. I have tried my hand at so many things. I've had a bookstore. I've done it. If you name it, I've tried it. And I mean, basically, you never know what you can do unless you've tried it and figured out what you can't do. So I want to say it's not too late. It's never too late. It's never too late to follow your dreams. I'm always going to follow my dreams. I'm a dreamer, and if I dream it, I can incorporate it and I can do it. So I just encourage moms out there, women out there to fight for your passion, fight for your dreams. Don't give up. And people say don't care what people say, but listen. Being a boss means listening to the people who've done it before you. We can't be so boss chick that we don't listen. People say you have your hand in so many plates, but there's levels to what I do. There's levels to what I do. I'm not going to take on more than I can chew. I can't say that right now it's a lot going on. But listen to the people who have come before you. Look at them, look at their models, and take advice. Don't be too big to take advice.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I would love to extend an invitation for you to come back later in the show for Girl Talk when we discuss relationship questions
Absolutely.
over wine. Do you have any wine?
Yes, I do.
Well, go grab your glass because up next is our spotlight on money. And when she's done, we will begin Girl Talk.
Okay, I'll be here.
All right, sit tight.
Hey, y'all. Hey, it is Taryn T Money Ferrer here to give you some money tips today. And honestly, this time we're going to talk about inflation. Folks have been going off about it. And so I want to kind of talk to y'all about how you can just adjust your finances for inflation, but also how you can make some preparations to adjust for it going forward. So if you were on the episode that I was on, I want to say it was maybe a couple months ago now, where I was talking about sinking funds, that is a great way to really adjust and keep your finances on par in case a really high spike in inflation happens, like what we're dealing with right now. It's the highest one we've seen since 1981. And so you can start to kind of measure for that by having a sinking fund. And if you were not there for that, quick definition is money that you can put aside just over time continuously to save for expenses that you know are coming up. So a popular type of sinking fund is like for your car. So if there's like car maintenance, things like that, right? So you can have a sinking fund. That's one way to make those adjustments. Another thing to do is when we are seeing the rates that we're seeing right now, and it seems like the prices of everything are much higher, right? That's when you can go in and make some adjustments to your budget. So you want to take a look and see where you might need to increase some areas, where you might need to maybe some spaces that you're not really using anymore. A great time to review your budget in general is every 3 to 6 months. And so you might want to review it a little bit sooner than that, just to make some adjustments for any expenses that might be higher than you're normally used to. Another thing that you can do is this might be a time if you were not already prepared for some of these higher prices, right? And maybe you're just starting to budget and you want to have those things adjust, then you can start to tap into your emergency fund, okay? And the emergency fund is just for those necessary expenses. Sometimes this is the time when you might want to start to put a little bit more over in that area into your bills account, into something that you're using to pay for something like gas. That's the one that everybody loves to talk about right now. So that is something that you can do to adjust and really plan for those things when it comes to your money. This might also be time when you want to make some lifestyle adjustments as well. But either way, inflation does happen. I think this is something we don't always talk about, but it does happen like every year. There's a little bit of inflation every year. The reason why it feels a little bit more like intense right now is because the rate really did spike in a significant way. Like I said, this is our highest inflation spike that we've had since 1981. So you can prepare for it by just beefing up your savings a little bit, by making those adjustments in your budget, and then taking a look at what lifestyle expenses you may or may not need to be using anymore. And then the last tip that I always give is that if you find yourself looking at your finances and you're like, okay, I've maybe cut down all the things that I want to cut down, then that's when you can start to look at creating more income. Okay. So whether that be through a side hustle, whether that be through some more like passive income streams, whatever it is, that is a great time to take a look at that. And so that is your money tip for today.
Oh yes, it's time for Girl Talk with Dawn B, Latanya, Udania, and yours truly, your laid back down to earth life coach. All right, ladies, it's time to decide. Would you like a question, a scenario, or a personal truth? Think about it, but whatever you choose, just don't forget the wine. All right, now, it's time to get this conversation started.
Hello, everybody. I feel like we're missing someone. What happened to Fatimah? I can't see her.
Audio only.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, yay.
All right. I was like, oh no, what happened? Oh no. All right. All right. So is everybody ready? Yes?
Yes.
All right. So Girl Talk. All right. So for our listeners, I feel like where that is. Okay. All right. So for the listeners, I'm going to go over the rules of Girl Talk, and viewers. I said listeners, but viewers as well. So how Girl Talk works is we have a bank of questions, scenarios, and personal truths, and each woman on the panel gets an opportunity to choose whichever one they would like to answer. They get a first opportunity to respond, and then once they are done, the rest of us can chime in with our feedback or our comments as well. But guys who are out there, you're watching, we want you to comment as well. Don't be silent because you guys help keep the conversation going. All right, so I usually start with the person that is right next to me on the screen. So Taryn, you are up first. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
All
So
right. I'll go with a question.
all right, a question. When you break up with someone, what do you do with the items they gave you during the relationship?
I think it depends on the items, right? Like, I think it's like if it's something that, I mean, people just know that I'm somebody who likes useful gifts. So I like things that I know I'm going to use in my everyday life. And so if it's one of those sorts of things, I'm probably going to keep it if I find that it's useful. If it's something where like, maybe like a piece of jewelry even, I'll probably sell that, give that away. Pictures, I think it depends on the picture. If there's other people I like in the photo, then I'll probably keep that. Otherwise, might file that away somewhere. But yeah, that's what I do with items after a breakup.
All right, so you categorize them.
Yes.
Some you keep, some you sell, and some you toss,
Yep.
maybe? Okay. Anybody else want to chime in?
I'll chime in. So, from my ex, I had this ring that I used to wear all the time. And so, my husband is, well, then he's like, when you gonna stop wearing that ring? And I'm like, I'm gonna stop wearing it when you replace it. So
Boss
he
chick.
replaced it,
Yay!
but so now I just have it in the jewelry box, and I guess one day eventually I'll go to the jewelry store and maybe trade it in for a pair of earrings or something.
Okay.
But pictures and things like that, I don't know. I just throw them wherever.
Yeah.
I don't just like automatically rip them up and just automatically get rid of them like that. It's not that serious.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Like, first of all, I don't think the only two people that gave me jewelry are my current husband and my first husband. Like, I didn't get jewelry. That wasn't. I don't know. That wasn't a thing. It might have been a thing, but it wasn't a thing for any of my relationships. And pictures, I keep all my pictures. I never took any like pictures that I'm ashamed of. So, um, all my pictures are somewhere. But I have I have tons and tons of totes of and photo albums of pictures. But I like pictures.
Yeah.
And then what else? I'm like you, Taryn. Like if it was a coffee mug or something, keeping a coffee mug. I don't have anything that I can think of that, oh, maybe lingerie, maybe you would throw that away or give that away, but I can't fit none of that anyway. So I don't have anything. I really don't have anything of any significance that I had from an a past relationship,
Right.
except my children, but I'll keep them. Anybody else?
So I'll chime in. One, when it comes to gifts, I am very specific. I don't buy me some. When people say it's the thought that counts, put some thought into it. Like,
Exactly.
I will tell you in a second. I don't want it. Take it back. Go back and get me something else because I'm gonna want to keep it. And I feel like I'm a very good gift giver. So I expect the same in return. So if we break up, I'm gonna keep it. I'm keeping it because it's something that I want. When you guys were talking, the only gift that I gave back was my ex-husband. My dream car was a Land Rover, and he bought me one, and then it was I loved it. It was my dream car, but once we broke up, he was sort of using it. It was a big red Land Rover, and everywhere he saw it, he was able to spot me. He tried to control me with it. It was paid for.
Oh my
goodness. But I had to throw it back in and start over because he was using that gift as a way to control me. I don't, where he was able to find out where I was. He was looking for trying to tell me who he wanted in the car. So other than that, if you bought it from me, it's mine. And I'm not the best person with jewelry because I lose jewelry. So I can't even say that I still have jewelry from my first marriage or any other relationships, not because I gave them away, but because more than likely I probably lost them. But if you bought me something, I'm keeping it. It's mine. Pictures, I think pictures are sentimental depending on if it was I can't say that I have pictures from like flings or anything like that, but if it's pictures that are sentimental, I might keep them if they're appropriate going into my next relationship. If it's not appropriate, then I won't keep them.
Got it. That makes perfect sense. Dawn's staying on mute, so does that mean just go ahead and
We have some comments.
You saw some comments?
Yeah. Danielle, she said if it's valuable, she's keeping it. If not, she probably already got rid of it.
Oh, okay. All of that? Okay. I missed all of that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, true. So I think we all are kind of like, well, it depends on what it is, but yeah, cool. All right, LaTanya, you're up next.
I'll take a question.
All right. What can a man do to stop his woman from cheating? Ooh, LaTanya.
He can stop cheating. No.
Alrighty.
Oh, why is that so funny to me? But I don't know. What did he do to make her start cheating? That's a hard question because most of the time women don't cheat.
Exactly.
And it's most of the time they are pushed to the very edge, and once they start, dude, it's over.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
I kind of, what? It's so funny that you say that because I think of cheating so differently than I used to. And I learned it from my husband. Basically there's nothing you can do. If somebody's going to cheat, they're going to cheat because people make a decision. I'm going to cheat or I'm not going to cheat. And that's it.
Okay. Well, you can do two things though, to keep a woman from cheating.
What's that?
Don't call it cheating and allow her to do it.
Oh Lord. You said
change the word. It's not cheating if you don't call it cheating. So that's it.
Call it something else.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Let me know if that works, anybody out there.
Don't work for me.
This
is how you keep a woman from cheating, though. This is how I got kept from cheating. Like, I never committed to a relationship.
Right, because then it's not really cheating. If you're not committed, unless you tell somebody you're committed and you're not really committed, then that's cheating all by itself. But okay.
We can go out, sure.
Anybody else have a comment before I go to the next person? Fatimah, you had something?
I think that's an interesting question, but I think if you have a woman that's just not that into you and that's a cheater, there's nothing you can do to stop her from cheating. If she's the cheater, she's a cheater. But if you have a woman that's into you and devoted and she cheats, and I don't condone cheating, but probably her needs weren't being met. Probably she's been telling you what she needs, because women are very vocal, and we oftentimes don't have a problem telling our men what we need. You don't have to go out and try to figure it out. If a woman is saying, here's what I need, here's what I need, here's what I need, then I mean, it's your responsibility to go out and try to give her what she needs, because a woman is going to do, a good woman that loves her man is going to do everything in her power to make sure she's bringing what she has to bring to the table. And, you know, men, you have to do the same thing. Again, I'm not condoning cheating, but I can't say what you can do to stop your woman from cheating when she cheats, but I can definitely give you some advice from preventing her to cheat. Meet her needs, and at least try to meet her needs, at least if she knows that you're making an attempt to meet her needs. But, or you can do what Dawn said, just don't call it cheating.
Or allow it, and everybody's happy.
That is an interesting perspective.
Of an entanglement. Or, yeah, like Kimberly said, reminds her of an entanglement. Hey, Will and Jada.
Right. So that's another, there's nothing you can do.
Entanglement.
All right.
It's over.
Exactly. Dawn, it's on you. Right?
Okay. I'll do a scenario.
A scenario. All right.
What's the scenario?
I like it when you do that. All right. So it says, my husband doesn't seem to be turned on by me.
Oh,
We
God.
have wait, Dawn. We have sex maybe twice a month, and just now we tried, and he couldn't even. Oh, children, leave the room. He couldn't even get it up. We're both in our late 20s, have been married for 3 years, and we have a 2-year-old. Outside of the sex, he's an amazing husband and father. The not having sex is hurting me, my body, and my confidence. When we do have sex, he always wants to get high first. Ooh. If I'm being honest, it's driving me toward cheating. I've never heard of a woman this young having to beg her husband for sex. I know there's not anyone else involved, and I'm actually his first. What do I do?
What you do is accept that this man is a homosexual, and he can't get it up is because you don't have male endorphins. He loves men, and because you are his first, he did not know he didn't want you. Now he knows. Don't be worried. Go get you a boyfriend until you guys decide if you want to stay married.
I am speechless.
Dawn.
So look, let me say this. I'm so glad, Dawn, you listened to the entire story and you really addressed it. But wow. Wow, Dawn. Wow. Okay.
That felt like a classic Dawn response.
I know, I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Okay, so
it's just what it is.
I cannot confirm or deny because I don't know who sent this in. However, I always, when people say like I'm his first, I'm definitely his first. I don't like. How do you know? Like you weren't there. You don't know if you're his first, and you don't know if he's not cheating. I mean, sometimes
you know. You can know. You know. You can take it for what it is. He said it was his first. Maybe he's nervous.
Anyway, so there's a lot of people that have said somebody was their first, and that just wasn't the truth. But even if it was their first, obviously he's distracted by something. If they used to have sex and now he needs all kinds of substances and things to, or maybe he's addicted to porn. I don't know, but something's going on that you guys need to. I think we can give you answers and we can give you our advice, but that sounds like something professional needs to take place. Like you guys need to see someone, seek a therapist, seek a counselor, something. Like this is serious.
I was gonna say, what was that show? The Sex, Love, and Goop thing that was going on?
I just heard about that. I'm like, I saw some. I'm like, Sex, Love, and what?
Yeah, it's like, what's her name? Is it Gwyneth Paltrow? Yeah, and it's like all about sort of like sex therapy sort of things.
Okay.
And when I read, well, before we went to part two, part two of that scenario got wild. But before we went to part two, I was like, oh, they may benefit from, some sort of sex therapy session. But yeah, I don't know.
What kind of advice do they give on that show? Because I haven't seen it. I just heard about it.
Yeah, they talk about like you might be a certain type of like a person who's turned on by certain things, and your partner might be turned on by something else. And so like whether it's like energies or physical touch itself, watching porn or something, whatever it is. So they talk about people navigating, you being attracted to one thing and your partner being attracted to something else. There's also, it's like, is it tantra? There's some sort of like, it's like almost like a yoga type thing.
Yeah, that's
Kama Sutra?
No.
Tantra.
Tantra. What was I right? I was right.
Yeah, you was right.
Thank you, girl. So yeah, I was like, that stuff. Maybe they should try that.
That's essentially what I said too.
No, it isn't.
I mean,
okay, Latanya.
I mean, two birds, one stone. You can get a threesome popping. You get a man. He get a man.
You all get a man.
You get a man. You get a man.
Everybody get a man.
All right.
Look, well, apparently, just having a man is not good enough because this woman has a man and something going on there. So
that's what I'm saying.
I don't have
another one.
Another man.
Another one.
He's a good man for another good man. That's period. Let's go to the next question. 7 minutes left.
Oh man, time is flying. So Latanya, you didn't have anything to say? No? Okay.
Not after Dawn. I'm done.
All right. Fatimah, it has rounded over to you. Would you like a question, a scenario, or a personal truth?
After Dawn, I don't know if I should pick a scenario.
I'll
take a scenario.
All right. It says, my husband said he's afraid I'll divorce him if he adds my name to the deed. After 29 years of marriage, how do I convince him to put me on the deed to our home?
I mean, I don't really understand that question because it said, how do I convince him to put my name to the deed to our home? If it's your home, why do you have to convince him? What? After 29 years, I would question his level of commitment. If you need to, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys have children together? Is he not interested in your future? God forbid something happens to him and your name is not on the deed. What is he planning? Is he planning to leave? Are you planning longevity for him? Why do you have to convince a man to put your name on the deed for something that belongs to both of you guys? I just don't understand that. Is he planning to leave? I would question his commitment. So I mean, how do you convince him by telling him either do it or this will be your home and I'll have my own home where my name will be on the deed?
All right.
And or or just convince, no, baby, I won't leave you. And as soon as he put your name on it, leave his ass. Boom.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm a liar.
So years of marriage. Something's got to be going on, right? Why are you afraid that she's going to divorce you if you put the deed on it? If she's been there for 29 years, so her whole motivation for staying 29 years is to get half of a house.
And that's control and a bit of abuse. Like he's using that as leverage. I don't like that. That's, as a therapist, that pings to me narcissist, and that pings to me control, financial abuse. All
of it. And even
and nothing. What you say, Don? I'm sorry.
I'm saying even if they did get a divorce, she'll still get the house more than likely. She got the kids.
Yeah.
And then her name will be on the deed.
That's what I was gonna say. Like with her living there for 29 years, even if her name is not on that deed, she's married to him, she's entitled to so much, even though her name is not on the deed. Like when you're married, if something were to happen like to him or even in divorce for 29 years, like
Right.
common law marriages have way more rights, and they'll if it was a common law marriage, they'll have something out of the marriage after they divorce or whatever or separate. But with her being married,
Yep, it's
like,
marital property.
yeah, that's like I wouldn't even be. I personally, I wouldn't even be worried about it real hard like that.
Yeah,
At all.
it feels awfully financially abusive over here in these streets.
Yeah.
And then also just in terms of him, right? There's some insecurity there in some way, shape, or form that needs to be addressed because
Mhm.
clearly, you know, if you're feeling some type of way, like you don't feel secure in your own relationship, if you think that as soon as you give her some ownership of something, she's about to leave, there's just a lot of yeah, as we've all stated, there's like a lot of different issues at play there where I'm like, it does not feel good. Like it does not feel right that 29 years and you think she about to go? Bro,
So
she
let's
wanted to
look
leave,
Yeah,
she would have
it's
already
something
left.
going on. It's there's something else going on that, of course,
Mhm.
is not in the scenario. Definitely, but
Because why did she wait 29 years? I mean,
exactly.
so
She's been trying to get it for 29 years.
she was.
Yeah,
She's
but
been trying to get on the deep. But let's do a little deductive. Let's see. So if they've been married about 30 years, they probably got married. Let's just say 20. So they're about 50. She need to get out of there because she can still be hot at 50. She can get her a new man.
You
She
are
could be on the Real
thanks
Housewives.
for getting out of there today. You are really
Yeah.
thanks for just leaving.
Get in the house and get a confident man in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 50, I think 50 is
Here.
hot. Um,
What?
we won't go around and say our ages. All right. Okay, so we're on my alarm.
23.
We have 3 minutes left. Okay, so I'm gonna take a personal truth because I think that will be quick. What is a strange habit you picked up from your significant other? Oh Lord, strange.
Strange.
Strange. I'm trying to think. Strange. I can't think of anything strange, but I don't even want to say.
Okay, Skip. Do another question for yourself.
That's so nice of you, Don. I'm gonna take you up on that offer. All right.
Strange.
Be honest. Have you ever put your hand on a man before?
Yes, honey.
I don't know if well, okay, I've never hit anybody in the face.
That's they didn't say if you ever hit a man in the face. They said ever hit a man before.
Yeah, I mean,
That part.
yeah, you know, not yeah, I have, but not
Well, yes.
okay, yeah.
Oh, thank you. It's
All
okay.
right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Back to the head.
No regrets.
Not like that.
Me too. No
Oh, I
regrets.
swung. I swung in front of everybody at the club, drunk. Like, what? I'm your girlfriend. Goofy.
Funny. You are mad. So everybody said yes?
I saw a lot of
Just nobody saying anything. They're just like, all right, just let me answer. Okay, cool. Me and
Period. Yes.
all right. We have time for one more quick thing. So you might not want to choose a scenario, Taryn.
Okay. Personal truth then? We'll do another one of those.
All right. Do you sleep with the TV on or off, and why?
I do not, because I like my bedroom to be a Zen environment.
All right.
Yeah.
I sleep with the TV involuntarily on Sports Center all night long, replaying the same clips about the basketball game over and over and over again, and the football game over and over and over again. And then I started dreaming about it. So yes,
I like
involuntarily.
Oh my gosh.
You sound like you could not be falling asleep to the TV.
I sound like, dude, would you please turn this off? I can't take it no more.
How's that song?
I sleep with the TV on. I put on a movie. I spend about 15, 20 minutes finding the perfect movie to put on. And then I kindly pull myself up under the covers and close my eyes every night.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
I
sleep
have to
with
turn
the
it
TV
off.
on.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's so interesting. What works for me, this became a habit when I was a senior in college because I lived by myself.
Mm.
And where I went to school is in the middle of South Central Los Angeles. So I needed the TV, right? I needed the TV just to feel so I didn't feel like I was alone in my apartment. You know, it's such a habit. Like I need that to be able to go to sleep peacefully. Now I do appreciate in I would say what the last probably 20 years now, there's a timer on the TV that'll let it go off. So you can
Yeah.
set it for like 60 minutes and then in 60 minutes, then I won't have like that awakeness all night. But yeah, that just became a habit when I was living by myself. Before then I used to go to sleep, no problem. I would be asleep before my head hit the pillow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that I've been out of college for a long time and I have not been able to break that habit. All right. So look, ladies, we have rounded the hour. Like we finished the whole hour. All right. You guys are quiet. This is so unusual. All right. So I'm getting ready to close out the show. Sit tight. Do not go anywhere. And 1 second. All right. I appreciate everybody for tuning in to Candid Conversations this week. We had a really good conversation. I want to thank our boss chick, Fatimah Turner, for telling her wonderful story, her inspiring story. Thank you, T Money, for giving us the information with the money and our finances. And of course, our very popular Girl Talk panel is always here for fun. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And next week is our final week, our season finale. We'll have Sister Africa Porter and Dr. Carlitha Hughes. As always, I'm reminding you to know and embrace true love because you're worth it. Have a blessed week.